If you grew up like me in a non-traditional church, like I sat on the floor while my dad preached sermons and then corrected me and disciplined me while he preached sermons. If you grew up like me, you don't even know what Advent is. You're like, hey, Advent, that's cool. What is that? But if you grew up in a more maybe formal background, you know about Advent, the Advent season, and the Advent readings. And as I continue to just grow in my faith and good friends like Mike Forrest have been in my life, I have come to really appreciate the way the readings come together in the Advent season that the church calendar puts together. I don't know who the folks are, the church calendar, but the calendars that we out there that put these readings together for the church universal, they've just become really rich to me over the years. And so for the second time in a row, at least that I can remember, we're working our way through the Advent readings with the church universal around the world, and we're going to look at that as we press into what's happening in this season. What is it we're celebrating in this season of Advent, in the season of celebrating the coming of our Lord Jesus? And so that's what we're going to be doing for the next 4 weeks, and I'm really excited about it. I think I probably told you guys this before, but I really, really don't like being pranked. Have I told you guys that before? Okay, maybe I have, maybe I haven't. I really don't like being pranked for a couple reasons. One is I think I just trust people a lot, so when they prank me, I just get my feelings hurt. You know? So like when they do something to me to embarrass me publicly, I'm like, but I trusted you. Like, you wouldn't do that to me. And so I just never assume I'm ever going to be pranked. And my youth group knew that, and so they regularly, I used to have a rule, they couldn't prank one another at my retreats, but they could prank me. And so I kind of would put my helmet on and I would understand they're going to prank me. And they would put snakes in my sleeping bag and, you know, just all kinds of stuff. They took a hat, my favorite hat one time, and they defiled it horribly. And they stuck it in a freezer, and my favorite hat was ruined. I've been pranked a bunch of times, mostly because people know I don't like being pranked. And I think maybe I told you once before, when I was in college, there was an extended prank that happened to me. My roommate, who I had known since 7th grade, was my roommate all through college, and I'd known him from back in the homeschool basketball days. You guys know about that. And so anyway, we were roommates in college, and I gave him, he needed to borrow my car, like, I don't know, like a month into our freshman year in college. And have I told you guys this story? Okay. I can never remember what story I told. And so I let him borrow my car, the only thing I owned, okay? I mean, I was poor. I had nothing to my name. I wore the same sweatpants every day to class. I had the same sweatshirt. No one's surprised by that. You all know that the only reason I have nicer clothes is because Josh Tisdale and Anna Woods made me get new clothes. For much of my life, I've worn sweatpants and a sweatshirt to everything. Okay? And so I owned a car. That's the only thing I owned. And it wasn't a nice car, but it was a car. And it was paid off. Okay? And it got great gas mileage. And so my roommate was like, hey, I need to borrow your car. And I was like, great, I gave him the key to my car, didn't think anything of it. And he used my car. But then for the next 4 years, odd things would happen to me. For example, I would walk out to get in my car and I couldn't find my car. And I'd be like, I'm sure my car is in the lot right where I parked. And it wouldn't be there. And I would search and search and search, and then I'd find my car in some other lot. And I'd be like, well, I guess I parked over there. And it was just so random and rare, you know. One time I was like, I was for sure that it was there. And I called my friend and said, yeah, remember last night? Remember where I parked? I was like, oh yeah, you parked at the girls' lot on the other side of campus. And I was like, okay. And so I went all the way over. I was like, I don't know why I parked in the girls' lot, but sure, I guess I went over there. You know, maybe I was over there for some reason. I don't know. And so I go over there and find my car. And for 4 years, that happened to me. For 4 years, my car would just randomly not be where I thought it was. And it never crossed my mind for 1 second that anything weird was happening. Now, for 1 second, it never crossed my mind. I just, you know, I don't know why, it just never crossed my mind that that someone was doing anything to me. And then my last week of college, I was in the dorm room with my 6 or 7 of my best friends from college. We're all in the dorm room, and they all started producing keys to my car. And it turned out that in the first week of school, my roommate had went and made 10 keys in my car. and it passed them out, literally. Now you think 4 years as a freshman, I wasn't even friends with the people he gave the keys to. I didn't know those people. Okay? I knew my room, I didn't know them. And he passed out keys, and for 4 years, random people had been moving my car all over campus. For 4 years, people had been parking it at random places, taking it off campus without telling me. One time, one of my other really good friends just didn't want to use his car, and so used my car and went all the way to like Springfield, which is like 30 miles away. And it was just like, oh, it's Chuck's car, you know, I got a key. And nobody ever told me, and I never picked it up. And it made so much of my story of the last 4 years made sense. Like so many things, I snapped into focus, and I was like, whoa, hey. I'll tell you this, I was really embarrassed, and I was really, really, really angry. Like I was irate. Probably the most angry I'd ever been that I can remember up until that time. I think I've got angrier since. But at that time, I cannot remember having ever been that angry. And I tried to diagnose it for a while. I tried to look back and figure out why was I so irate. I was irate. I kept vacillating. You ever been so angry that you vacillate between being sarcastically funny to being like really angry again, and then but like I'm cool, I'm fine, and then you're sarcastic and then angry again. I would just vacillate back and forth. And I remember, I think I've kind of figured out a little bit why. I think because I feel like I trusted somebody, and then they made a fool of me. I trusted somebody, and outside of my control, they messed with stuff in my life. And stuff wasn't where it was supposed to be, and stuff wasn't happening the way I wanted it to happen, and things weren't where I thought they would be, and things didn't make sense in the way things were working out. And I think the reason it made me so angry is because they were doing all that totally outside of my control, totally outside of my ability to understand what was happening in my life at the time. And at the end of the day, the whole point why things were being moved around was I was going to be made a fool of. I was going to be ashamed and embarrassed and to look like an idiot. And I think that's one of the reasons why it just made me so angry. And you know what's interesting as we come to the text today, I think sometimes we feel that way about God. And we struggle to trust Him because we know our stories are moving away in ways we don't understand. We know that things are happening in our stories that we just can't see the end of the pathway. And I think it's hard for us to trust God because our big fear at the end of the day is that somehow God's going to make a fool of us. That somehow at the end of the day, He's going to work pieces around and things are going to be done in certain ways. But at the end of the day, it's not going to end up for our good. It's going to end up making us look like a fool. Forever trusting God. And I think sometimes we struggle with what's going on in the world. And can God be trusted? Because we aren't sure that the path and the things that are happening in our story are ever going to make sense and work out for our good. And so I think the Advent season is an awesome season, but one of the things the Advent season is going to do for us is it's going to challenge whether or not we can see the goodness of God and the sovereignty of God. Can we see the goodness of God in the cosmic plan God is working out over all of creation? Can we see His goodness in it for us and for His glory? That's why we sang that song. One of the Advent readings that we're going to focus on this morning is Psalms 25. I want you to check out how David deals with this conflict. This conflict of trusting God and what God is doing, and the fear that as he trusts God and what God's doing, he's going to be made to look like a fool. That's a big fear. He's worried. God, I'm going to trust you, but I'm afraid that I'm going to look like a fool. Check this out in Psalms 25, verse 1. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. O God, in you I trust. Let me not be put to shame. Here's what he's saying. God, I'm giving you my soul. It's a declaration of, these are all my desires. These are all my hopes. These are all my fears. This is the innermost part of who I am. God, I lift that soul up to you. And I trust in you. Don't make me look like a fool. Don't make me look like a freaking idiot for saying, God, I trust you even though I don't understand what's happening. Don't don't let me be put to shame. God, I offer up my soul. God, I trust in you. Don't let me be put to shame. That's a genuine cry for someone who understands that he's not going to be able to make sense of his path, but he's battling to trust in the sovereignty of God over it. That he can't make sense of all the things that have happened, all the ways that God is weaving his story together, and yet a battle to trust God that God's going to be good. In the middle of it, it's a couple of declarations. God, here's my soul. God, here's my soul. Here's all that I am. I give it to you. I'm lifting up my soul to you, and I'll trust in you. Don't let me be put to shame. And then he says another request, don't let my enemies triumph over me. Don't let the ones that are out for my soul, the ones that are out for me to fail, the ones that are out for me to become to nothing, don't let them win over my life. Don't let me look like a fool as I trust in you as you're sovereign over all of these things. And don't let my enemies triumph over me. It's a pretty simple request. And the question is, how does David do that? How does David lean into hope? How does David lean into trust? How does he do that even against the fears of being made to look like a fool? Even against the fears of the enemies that are trying to triumph over him? How does he lean into and struggle to trust in God and to hope in the promises of God? And there's an incredible thing that he says next. And this is really the theme for the rest of the chapter. It's bookend on the verse we're about to read here, and at the very last verse we're going to look at the end. And here's what he says. He says, indeed, none who wait for you shall be put to shame. He's going to use that again. He's going to say that phrase again, wait. And at the very end of the passage, he's going to say, I wait for you. In other words, here's what David's going to say. David's saying that I give my soul to the Lord. I trust in the Lord. Don't let me look like a fool. Don't let me be put to shame for trusting in you. And how's he going to battle to trust in the Lord? He's going to wait. And that seems really, really counterintuitive. Waiting is not something I think we're good at. In fact, I think when we have to wait, and I say have to wait because nobody waits intentionally. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, if you're waiting right now, it's not your choice to wait. If you didn't have to wait, you wouldn't wait. You would do what it is you want to do. You would accomplish what it is you want to accomplish. You would get it done. You would move in that direction. If you're waiting right now, it's because something outside of your control is making you wait on something you're longing for. And he says that one of his ways of battling to trust in the Lord and offer his soul to the Lord is he will wait on the Lord. Here's the thing, waiting often kind of does something to us. It kind of stirs things inside of us. And I don't know about you, but for me, I don't like waiting at all. I hate waiting. But for me, waiting makes me feel weak. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Like when I have to wait, I feel weak. I just feel powerless. I feel like I don't like the locus of control, like the area of control is not in me, it's outside of me. I can't get my hands around it. And so I feel weak because I can't control the outcome. And so waiting makes me often feel weak. When I have to wait, I often make rash decisions. Anybody want to know what I'm talking about? So I often start to stir inside of me, and I think, okay, I got to make something happen, right? And so maybe I'm like, Abraham's like, God promised a son. Well, Abraham's 100 years old now. He's going, God, I look like an idiot. I look like an idiot trusting you to give me a son. I'm 100 years old. My wife is almost 100 years old. You made me look like a fool, God, for trusting you that you're going to give me a son. So what does he do? He finds another wife who's younger so that he can have a son. He makes rash decisions. I don't know about you, but in the waiting, I make a lot of rash decisions. In the waiting, I've pushed against God, and I've tried to make things happen. Maybe you've done that. Well, I don't know about you, but sometimes in waiting, I get exhausted waiting. I just get tired. You're just tired of waiting. I don't know what you're waiting on, but I just get tired of waiting sometimes. I just It can become exhausting to your soul. Because you're just like, come on. Like, how much longer? I don't know about you, but there are times you go, man, I don't think I can wait another moment. God, you gotta come through. I don't think I can wait one more second. And God always goes, man, I think we'll wait another second. You can wait another month. You can wait another year. Come on. And you're like, oh, I didn't think I could do that. And you do. But it's exhausting to have to wait. It's easy to despair. Or maybe you're like me, and so waiting is something you don't like to do, so you fill your life with as much busyness as you can. Just fill it up with as much busyness as you can. Just run away from that feeling of thinking about what you're waiting for, and just stay busy. Just keep moving. Just keep going. Make this happen. Make it happen. Never sit still long enough to go, God, I'm waiting on you to come through. God, I'm waiting for you to show up in my life. God, I'm hoping in you. Don't wait long enough to think through that. Just stay busy. Just keep moving. But the problem with that is when you do have to slow down, like you will have to slow down because you're a human being, and you will have to lay down, or your body will get sick and it will break down. And in those quiet moments, all that angst is still going to be there. Just right there below the surface. It never went away. Busyness doesn't do anything to chase it away. So the question is, how do we lean into waiting? If waiting is such a powerful tool of God to stir our heart to hope in God, as David seems to say it is, I will hope in the Lord. If it's such a powerful tool from God to be used in our life, then how do I lean into it? What's the healthy way of leaning into waiting? Because the Advent season is all about waiting on God to come, waiting on God to show up in our life. So how do we lean into that? How do we lean in to waiting? And David's going to show us how to do that. The first thing that he does to lean into waiting is he says, verse 4, God, help me to know your ways and teach me your paths. So he's not sitting back going, what's happening, God? He's saying, God, show me how you're working in my path. Like my desire and my waiting is to see your ways working in me. So show me how you're working. Show me your ways. Show me, God, your intentionality in these steps that I'm having to walk. Show me what you're doing as I walk this out, trusting in you. Show me your ways and teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you're the God of my salvation. For you I wait all the day long. For you I wait all the day long. Verse 6, remember your mercy, O Lord, and your steadfast love. You know, when you're waiting, the longer you wait, the greater your desire and your understanding of your need for God's mercy. The longer you wait, the more you go, God, I need your mercy. The longer you wait, the more you go, God, I need you to show up. The longer you wait, the greater your desperation grows to say, God, be kind to me. God, be merciful to me. God, show me, sustain me. Take care of my soul. The longer you wait, the greater your desire grows for God to show his mercy to you. Instant gratification has a way of making us less dependent on God. Instant gratification, instant getting what we want, when we want it, how we want it, has a way of creating self-centeredness in us. And that's our whole culture is built around that. Get it when you want, as fast as you want it. When you want to see someone lose their temper, just go to a restaurant where someone doesn't bring your order as fast as you want. Just see someone lose their mind. We have orchestrated our whole life around instant gratification. But you will never develop, we will never develop in our need for God's mercy and understanding his grace if we get what we want when we want it. God stirs that in us as we wait. He says, remember your mercy, O Lord, and your steadfast love, for they have been from of old. Remember not the sins of my youth or my transgressions according to your steadfast love. Remember me for the sake of your goodness. So we already see that in his waiting, he's asking for God to show him his ways. In his waiting, he's asking God to show him his mercy. And then what happens when he's waiting? In the waiting, God begins to pull the layers of his sin out. See, waiting has a way of taking what's hidden under the surface and pushing it up to the front. Pushing all those things that maybe you would push down under busyness and you'd go, hey, it's not really there because everything's going my way. But when things aren't going our way, when the path isn't making sense, when things aren't working the way we want it to work, it makes sin come to the surface. And all of a sudden, the longer David waits, the more his sin becomes clear to him. The more his selfishness becomes clear to him. The more the way he treats other people becomes clear to him. The more he battles with his flesh becomes clear to him. And so all of a sudden, in his waiting, he sees his sin. And in his sin, he asks for God's grace. God, show up in my life. And remember not the sins of my youth or my transgressions. Good and upright is the Lord, therefore he instructs sinners in the way, and he leads the humble in what is right, and teaches the humble his way. There's a lot of ways to get humble, but one of the most powerful ways to grow in your humility is to have to wait. Pride grows when it seems like I can make everything happen the way I want it to happen. Oh, that's just the garden of pride. I want it, I make it happen. I want to achieve it, so I get it. I pursue it, and I capture it. And pride just grows out of that. Humility comes when the person struggles and wonders and hopes and battles. And God says, you know what? I can't lead the proud, but I can lead the humble. And so David recognizes, you know what's awesome about David and his story is we all know David becomes king. But we also all know that David's told he's going to become king, and it has to wait a long time before he becomes king. You know, Saul was a really proud king, and David was a mess. But nobody said David was proud. And I think the reason no one said David was proud is because David got the stuff kicked out of him before he ever became king. And he just got it kicked out of him. Chased away from his family. Having to go live with the pagan Philistine. Had to act like he was out of his mind, crazy, aspiring, just so they wouldn't kill him. Had to hide in caves. Chased by Saul. So much of it, the rest of Saul's life, Saul's trying to kill David at every turn. Yeah, I think by the time David becomes king, God's beating all that stuff out of him. Because David's had to go, I don't know when I'm going to become king. I don't know when I'm going to get a place to live. I don't know where. I'm going to be close to my family. I don't know when I'm going to be reunited with my brothers. I don't have a clue how you're working on my path. And all that does is create humility. As he trusts in the Lord. And so he said, you can lead the humble. And you teach the humble his way. And then look at verse 10. All the paths of the Lord are steadfast love and faithfulness. All the paths of the Lord are steadfast love and faithfulness. All the paths of the Lord are steadfast love and faithfulness. All, come on, surely there are some things that happen in my path. Surely there are some things that have happened in your path. Surely there are moments that we cannot say, God, that was your goodness and your faithfulness. All the paths of the Lord are steadfast love and faithfulness. David can only say that because he's had to wait. And he's seen God working in his waiting. So verse 11 he says, for your name's sake, O Lord, pardon my guilt, for it is great. Who is the man who fears the Lord? Him he will instruct in the way he shall choose. His soul shall abide in well-being, and his offspring shall inherit the earth. The friendship of the Lord is for those who fear him. So all of a sudden, relational intimacy begins to be cultivated in the heart of David because he waits. I wait on the Lord. What begins to cultivate? A friendship with the Lord. I think God is so ferocious for our friendship that he withholds the things we think we have to have to be happy, so that our heart gets cultivated with a desire to know him as a friend. And I think he just knows. He knows what we would be distracted by. He knows where we put our hope. He knows the things we would run to be satisfied in life. And so waiting has this way of carving it out in us so that we begin to say, God, if that ever comes through, God, be my friend. God, if this ever happens, God, I need your friendship. God, if this never works out the way I want it, at least you're close to me. You're my God. You're my friend. And waiting is a way of cultivating that in us. So at the end of the day, we say, God, I may have nothing, but I've got everything because I've got you. The waiting carves that out in our lives. So the friendship of the Lord is for those who fear him. He makes known to them his covenant. And then he goes, my eyes are ever toward the Lord. In other words, he's saying, my desire is for the Lord. That's what the eyes meant, these old saints. The eyes were the ways of saying, that's what I desire. That's what I want in life. So the eyes, my eyes are toward the Lord. Will he put my feet out of the net? Turn to me and be gracious or kind to me. For I am lonely and afflicted. The troubles of my heart are enlarged. Bring me out of my distress. Consider my affliction and my trouble, and forget all my sins. In other words, he understands the complexity of the broken world he lives in. Some of the brokenness of the world has to do with enemies. Some of the brokenness in the world has to do with the fact that we get physically sick and we die. And some of the brokenness in the world is David's own heart contributing. And he sees the complexity of all of it. He goes, God, deliver me from my enemies and forgive me for my sin. You know, it's easy to want to narrow that down and make it all outward happening to us. And it's easy to do that and say, man, all this stuff happening to me, it's wrong. God, deliver me from it. And I think as we grow in our walk with God, we don't have to deny that things happening to us and the world we live in is hurting us. Also recognize our heart is dark and our heart is broken, and that we need God's grace to work in the things that are happening to us, and God's grace to work in our own heart and the evil we contribute to the world around us. And David sees that as he waits on the Lord and he asks for God's grace. And in verse 19, consider how many are my foes. With violent hatred they hate me. O guard my soul and deliver me. Let me not be put to shame, for I take refuge in you. May integrity and uprightness preserve me. For what? For I wait for you. Redeem Israel, O God, out of all his troubles. The band can come back up, and I want to look at one of the other Advent scriptures. I don't know what you're waiting on. I know what I'm waiting on. And we're a small enough church that you know what I'm waiting on. I've got a good sense of some of the stuff you're waiting on. That's the beauty of the intimacy of our family, right? That if we were hanging out long enough, all of you will know exactly where I'm struggling, exactly what I'm waiting on, and I know pretty clearly where you're at. But we're all waiting. In one way or another, we're all leaning into God, saying, God, I have to wait. God, you need to come through. God, don't let me be ashamed. God, be good. I offer you my soul. I trust in you. Don't let me be put to shame. Don't pull a prank on me where you were sovereign over all of this and they got to the end, or pull my pants down so everyone could laugh. Don't do that to me, God. I trust you. I'm leaning into you. I'm hoping in you. I think some of us we're waiting on relationships to be healed. Some of us are waiting on situations to change. Some of us are waiting in physical pain, praying, God, would you come in and bring relief to this pain that never seems like it's going to end? We're all waiting. But I know exactly what David was waiting on. David was waiting on a king. And so he says in Jeremiah 33, verse 14, behold, the days are coming, Jeremiah says concerning David, declares the Lord, when I will fulfill the promise made to the house of Israel and the house of Judea. And in those days and at that time I will cause a righteous branch to spring up for David, and he shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. And in those days Judea will be saved, and Jerusalem will dwell securely. And this is the name by which he will be called. The Lord is our righteousness. David's waiting on the Lord for the Lord to step into a broken world and execute justice. And he's waiting on the Lord to step into a broken world and give him a righteousness he cannot earn. Like that's what he's waiting on. He's waiting on the Lord to say, come through, God. I don't want to be ashamed. I'm putting my hope in you. And he's waiting for a king. He's waiting for his God, for his Lord to walk in and say, evil done away with. Injustice done. Righteousness will rule. And by the way, your own dark heart you'll have my righteousness. That's what he's waiting on. And whether we're waiting on a relationship to be reconciled, or we're waiting for physical pain to be healed, or we're waiting for some wound to be healed, or we're tired of walking through loneliness, whatever we're waiting on, at the end of the day, we're really waiting on our King. And I think that's why Jesus came in his ministry. After he showed up, after he was living on the planet, said to his disciples, hey, you're still waiting. You're still waiting. But this is what it's going to look like. And this is what he says in Luke 21. And there will be signs in the sun and moon and stars on the earth, and the stress of the nations and perplexity. In other words, there's going to be a lot of angst going on. More angst in the day. We're in a lot of angst, but there's going to be more angst, more perplexity, more struggle. And then he says, people fainting with fear and with foreboding of what is coming on the world. For the powers of the heaven will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. In other words, the angst you live in is only going to grow. The angst of this broken world is only going to grow. But one day, in the middle of the angst, in the middle of the turmoil, in the middle of the fear of a dark and broken world, a King will show up on the clouds, and we will see him in his power, we will see him in his glory. And Jesus says, when that happens, straighten up. In other words, you're down here. Stand up and look up and see. Look up and see your King. Look up and see his glory. Look up and see his power. He's not going to show up in the last day and go, hey, look, everybody had keys in your car. You're an idiot. No, he's going to show up. And as we've trusted in him, and trusted our soul in him, and said, God, you're sovereign. All your paths are steadfast love. All your paths are faithful. When we see him in his glory, we will not be put to shame. And that's what Advent's all about. Behold our King who is coming. He has come, and he is coming. Let's straighten up and lift up our eyes to see him. Let's stand and respond in worship this morning. God, we love you. And God, we want to see you. And nothing more miraculous can happen to our heart in this moment than for us to trust you and what you're doing in our path. Nothing more miraculous can happen than for us to rest in your goodness as we walk this path of following you. That supernatural faith that only comes from you as you stir our hearts. So even as we respond in worship, God, will you stir that faith in us? In Jesus' name.